You probably had the same breakfast this week that you had last week. Maybe cereal, maybe toast, maybe you skipped it entirely and had coffee and called that a meal. Most modern humans eat somewhere between 5 and 20 different foods on a regular basis. Your ancestor 50,000 years ago ate somewhere between 150 and 200 different species of plants, animals, and fungi in a single year. Not because they were healthier people, not because they tried harder. Because when there is no fridge, no pantry, and no plan, the whole world becomes the menu. This is what a real prehistoric day of eating looked like. It probably started before sunrise, because in a world with no lights you woke up when the light told you to. The first thing they did was not eat. They moved, checked the surrounding area, assessed what the night had changed around camp, and while doing that, they started eating. Not sitting down for breakfast, just eating as they went. Berries were one of the most reliable early morning foods, easy to spot, fast to eat, and available in most seasons. But berries were just the beginning. The real nutrition in a hunter-gatherer diet came from the ground. Roots, tubers, and bulbs were the staple carbohydrate for most prehistoric populations around the world. Not sweet potato from a supermarket, not clean peeled and pre-cut, just raw, dirty, fibrous, starchy roots dug from the earth with a stick. And the fiber content in those roots was enormous compared to anything in a modern diet. A single wild tuber could contain 3 to 4 times the fiber of a modern sweet potato. That fiber fed something ancient humans had in extraordinary abundance: gut bacteria. But we'll come back to that. By mid-morning, foraging had shifted from opportunistic snacking to deliberate searching. Prehistoric humans knew their local environment with a precision that most modern people reserve for their phone screens. They could identify hundreds of individual plant species, which ones were edible, which were medicinal, which were poisonous, and which were only edible if prepared a specific way. That knowledge was accumulated over thousands of generations and passed down through direct instruction. It was the original education system, and food was the curriculum. Mushrooms were a major food source that most people forget about entirely. Rich in protein, minerals, and compounds that modern nutrition science is still actively studying. And insects, this is the part modern people react to with their faces. But insects were, and in many parts of the world still are, one of the most reliable high-protein foods available. Grubs, beetle, larvae, termite ants, all high in fat and protein and available year-round in many climates. A handful of termites contains more protein per gram than a chicken breast. Ancient humans didn't think twice about it. Now, for most of the morning, hunting wasn't happening yet. Hunting was expensive, in time, energy, and risk. A failed hunt burns thousands of calories you haven't replaced yet. So hunting was planned, deliberate, often a group activity, and persistence hunting. Chasing an animal not to outrun it but to outlast it was one of the most effective methods. Humans can sweat. Most prey animals can't cool themselves while running. Run long enough, in enough heat, and the animal simply stops. When a hunt succeeded, it was significant. Not just for the meat, but for everything else the animal provided. Bone marrow, cracked from the center of large bones, was one of the most calorie-dense foods available. Organ meats, liver, kidney, heart, were eaten first, before anything else. Not because of preference, because organs are where the vitamins concentrate. Liver alone contains more vitamin A, B12, iron, and folate than almost any other food on Earth. Ancient humans ate it raw, partially cooked, or charred directly over fire. Fire changed everything about what they could eat. Cooking breaks down toxins in plants that would otherwise be inedible. It softens fiber so more nutrients can be absorbed. It makes protein easier to digest, which is part of why cooking is directly linked to the expansion of the human brain. The cooked food produced more usable energy per bite, which meant the gut could shrink because it didn't have to work as hard, and the brain could grow with the freed energy. The campfire wasn't just where they ate. It was where the human brain got built. But not everything was cooked. Nuts and seeds were eaten raw throughout the day, not as a snack, but as a serious calorie source. Wild almonds, pine, nuts, acorns, hazelnuts, all available across different seasons and regions. Honey was the closest thing to a treat, and getting it was genuinely dangerous. Bees' sting nests are often high up or in inaccessible places. But honey is pure concentrated energy, and ancient humans went to considerable effort to get it. Back in camp, by late afternoon food preparation began in earnest. Seeds were ground between stones to make a rough paste, an early form of grain processing that predates agriculture by tens of thousands of years. Roots were placed in the ash to roast slowly. Meat was cooked directly over the flame, and fish, wherever there was water nearby, was a major food source that often doesn't make it into the popular image of prehistoric eating. Coastal populations and river-adjacent groups ate fish daily, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are directly linked to brain development and cognitive function. Populations with reliable fish access show markedly different cranial development in the fossil record. The evening meal was the largest and most communal of the day. Food was shared across the group, not hoarded, not private. Sharing wasn't generosity in the modern sense. It was the social contract that kept everyone alive. A hunter who kept their kill to themselves would find no one helped them the next time they were hungry. Food was also very probably medicine. Not separate from the meal, but woven into it. Specific plants chosen for specific effects on the body. Willow bark was chewed for pain relief. Garlic-like plants were eaten for gut health. The line between food and medicine barely existed. Now let's talk about what this diet actually meant nutritionally. Modern nutritionists are only beginning to understand the full picture. And what they keep finding is that the hunter-gatherer diet was extraordinarily well matched to the human body, because it was the diet that built the human body. Not some distant ideal we're trying to return to, but the literal nutritional environment in which human biology evolved. The variety was the key thing. Diversity of plant intake directly feeds diversity of gut bacteria. And gut bacteria diversity is now understood to affect everything: immune function, mental health, inflammation, metabolic rate. Modern industrial humans have lost roughly 30 to 40% of the gut bacterial diversity that hunter-gatherers still carry today. That loss happened fast, within a generation of switching to processed food. Now, let's talk about winter. Because this diet wasn't available year-round, and that's important. In colder climates and winter months, plant foods became scarce. The diet shifted dramatically toward fat and protein, whatever hunting could provide. Animal fat was not the enemy. For a prehistoric human in winter, it was survival. The kind of seasonal metabolic flexibility moving from a high-carbohydrate summer diet to a high-fat winter diet is something the human body was built for. Modern humans eat the same foods year-round regardless of season. And our metabolisms built for that seasonal swing have never fully adjusted. The gut that was built to process 200 species across changing seasons is now processing 5. And here's the thing that researchers keep coming back to. Ancient humans were not healthier because they tried harder or knew more. They were healthier because the environment they ate from was built by millions of years of coevolution with the human body. The plants were right, the variety was right, the seasonality was right, the body and the food evolved together, and somewhere in the last few thousand years, in a blink of evolutionary time, we walked out of that system and built a new one from scratch. That new system fed more people, kept more people alive, and built civilization as we know it. But it came with a cost that we're still measuring. Your body still runs the ancient software, the one that expects 150 species, seasonal variety, raw fiber, organ meat, and insects. And every morning it wakes up and gets cereal instead.